Had a chance to catch up with Jim Bob Cooter today, the offensive coordinator of the Indianapolis Colts. Jim Bob had some things to be happy about. The play of the offensive line, it was not bad overall. He likes Bernie Raimann. Bernie playing at a very high level. He liked Michael Pittman Jr. Michael Pittman Jr. plays hard, runs hard. All these things he discussed today as he talked to the media, both about the loss against the Jaguars and the challenge they've got coming up on Sunday in Houston against the Texans.
I think there was a lot of good there. The guys were really firing off the ball, really coming off the ball. There's some things we got to clean up. There's some detailed things, some assignment things, which are probably true most weeks, that we can improve, and we got to work on to improve. That's part of our job as coaches to keep improving as the year goes on. So there are some different sort of schematic things that we did week one, maybe that hadn't been done around here in a while. And I think guys will continue to improve at those. There are just slight little tweaks on techniques. It's not a major difference or anything. We're ultimately just playing football out here. But yeah, I thought there was a lot of good. There was a lot of good, a lot we can build off of, but plenty we can clean up too. And that's our job as coaches.
One quick follow-up. I guess, how do you unlock more from your running back room when you have, about 25 yards among the guys you put in there, outside of Anthony, obviously, who had 40 yards?
Yeah, we'd like to have a little more successful run game, obviously, on a Sunday. Give credit to Jacksonville. They got a good front, and they played up to that level. They made it tough on us. They did some things schematically that as coaches they won the battle there a little bit. We can put our players in better position to have better success, but shoot, it's an NFL season. We're off and running. So hey, week one's going to turn into week two. The fronts are going to be different. The techniques are going to be different. The schemes are going to be different, both on our side and their side. So there's a ton of improvement and changes and just sort of it's a constantly changing, improving game moving forward from here. We're really eyes open, looking to make sure we know what are we doing well in these games. What are we maybe not doing so well, so we can do a little bit more of what we did well, a little bit less of what we haven't, and sort of try to steer the ship the right direction.
Kevin?
Jim Bob, you guys got Pitt in space on that touchdown. How much of that do you feel like is playing to his strengths? I know, like, maybe 40-yard dash time, he's not 4.3, but he seems to be a guy that can make some plays in space.
Yeah, I mean, sure was moving pretty good with the ball in his hand right there. Yeah, Pitt's a guy when the ball's in his hand. Pitt runs so hard. He plays hard. He runs hard. He gives his all every play out there. He is just busting it out there. So yeah, to be able to get Pitt the ball in his hands, he's a guy that can make those extra yards, make that guy miss, run through that sort of arm tackle out in space. It was good to see him hit that screen the other day. The guys did a great job blocking for that, by the way, to get him started. Granson and Bernie and Q and all those guys. There was a lot of really good individual efforts on that play. But yeah, that's a big part of Pitt's game. Ball's in his hand. Looking downfield, guys are coming to tackle him. He's running hard. He's running through sort of those, like I said, those arm tackles, and we'll look to continue to get him the ball and let him do what he does well.
And then individually, what more do you need from Deion Jackson here in week two?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it a ton, right? We pride ourselves on protecting the ball. We all offensively want to protect that ball a little bit better. So that's a big part of sort of who we are, what we believe in offensively. It's on all of us. Offensively, it's on us coaches to kind of get that where we need it and protect the ball, and then just go out and play ball, right? Go out and play ball. I do think, those guys were really hitting runs hard. There was no hesitation. There was no, those guys were out there playing hard, running hard, hitting those runs. We got to clean up. We got to clean up the ball security things. That's important to us. That's important to winning football in this league, and he knows that, and we know that, and we'll coach that thing a little bit better on our end as well.
Joel?
What did you see out of Alec Pierce? I know you guys didn't have really a ton of opportunities to throw down the field, but what did you see out of Alec Pierce the other day?
Yeah, I thought Alec played a pretty good game. The ball didn't come his way. It happens sometimes at the receiver position. Shoot at any of the skill positions. Try as we may, you can try try real hard as a coaching staff to get the ball to a certain guy or call a certain play where maybe a certain guy's the first read. But boy, if that defense plays that alternate look, you think their main coverage is this one thing. When they play that secondary coverage, well, the ball, Anthony Richardson doesn't need to throw to his first read. He got to get to his second read. And that happened a little bit to Alec in the game. It's a little bit of an ebb and flow in this league. We've talked about a little bit as a coaching staff. The ball, it all tends to even out, but sometimes you kind of have those games where you just don't get as many targets as you want. We'd like to get all our guys involved. Alec being one of those especially, and he, like I said, he's doing a lot of good things out there. He's a little bit under the radar just because he's not making a ton of plays. The ball's not going up his direction a ton, but those things have a way of changing week to week, and I like his chances of making some plays for us soon.
Chat.
Jim Bob, it seems like with a quarterback like Richardson, we're going to have to reevaluate what's good and bad pass protection because of the way he moves around. It looked like 4 sacks and 2 hits. It still looked like the protection was pretty good, but he got outside. Was protection okay, or is it just different when you've got a quarterback that can kind of get out? A couple of them were kind of not cheapy sacks, but he wasn't getting pulverized in the pocket.
Yeah, I think from a big picture perspective, I would say I was pleased with protection. There were several really good pockets. Now there were 1 or 2 that are a little bit muddy, but welcome to the NFL. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like in the NFL. I thought, stats can tell sometimes a little bit of a different story. You said it, hey, we're moving outside the pocket. He's trying to scramble and find that completion. He doesn't quite get it. Ends up being one of those sort of half-yard sacks. We can sort of learn from that and eliminate those, and that's not a huge deal. I thought all things considered, the protection was pretty good. We had some pretty good pockets. As you're evaluating the statistics, gonna be a little bit of a different season maybe than a quarterback that spends the majority of his time in the pocket. I think Anthony's gonna move. I think Anthony's gonna sort of create some plays moving. Going to be some scramble yards created. There's going to be some scramble completions created. Sometimes the stats will reflect that both good and bad. So, like I said, all things considered, a lot of good things shown in protection. A couple things to clean up, which there will be, but a lot of good things were shown.
AJ?
Jim Bob, there's so much that goes into being a starting quarterback in the NFL that isn't just ball, right? Like how do you see Anthony handle all that other stuff that, comes with being a starting quarterback, the, media attention, just the outside stuff, all that?
Yeah, he's been really good. I mean, around the building here, we got him in meetings. Obviously, we got him at practice. He's going about his business. He's working. He's taking notes. He's asking questions. He's talking to his teammates. He's getting extra work after practice, or sometimes the way the season works here in the NFL, sometimes you get that work as a quarterback in between periods during a special teams period, things like that. So Anthony's putting in a ton of good work. I see a guy that's locked in on his job, locked in on his work. Certainly doesn't seem distracted by any of that outside noise, which is a good thing. And at the quarterback position, you're going to get it right. You're going to get the good, the bad, all sorts of stuff in this league at the quarterback position. But he's locked in, coming to work, doing his job. Like I said, working with his teammates, having a good time, kind of working to get better each day.
2 more. Raven?
You just talked about the pass protection from Sunday's game. What about Bernhard Raimann specifically? You touched on his blocking on that touchdown that Pittman had. Just what did you see from him on Sunday?
Yeah, I don't like grading a player necessarily in the out in the media, but I'll just say I'm pleased with Bernie. Bernie's been putting together a good training camp that's turned into a pretty good preseason, that's turned into a pretty good start to the season. Bernie's doing a lot of nice things. He sure is developing. He's getting better and better every week. We love seeing that as coaches. He's got a great mindset for improvement, a great mindset for getting better. And when something happens on a Wednesday in practice, and then we give him that same rep on a Thursday or a Friday in practice, if he made a mistake on Wednesday, a lot of times it's fixed. Almost every time it's fixed. So Bernie's doing a good job. We like Bernie's had a good start.
And how important is that for a player playing left tackle, which is arguably the most important position on the O-line?
Yeah, that's another one where, a lot of times you tend to get, you tend to draw a tough matchup almost every week, right? You kind of have 17 title fights. You're going up against really good players out there. Each guy's a little bit different how they handle that. Obviously, some of the more veteran tackles that have been around the league for 8 to 10 years have been through a lot of those battles. Bernie's sort of working through his early career portion of those things. But like I said, good start. Bernie's been doing a nice job for us.
Last one, James.
Jim Bob, how did you see Anthony just kind of handle everything in game, deal with the in-game adjustments, when to talk to you on the sideline, when to talk to his teammates, and when to kind of take some time for himself? Like, how did you see him navigate all that for the first time?
It was good. We had a little discussion last week about sort of, because preseason, we sort of have our way we deal with those in between the drive moments. But preseason, gosh, there's a lot of bodies on the sideline. It's a little bit hectic. It is a little bit different. And then sometimes you're going, you might, if you're Anthony, you might play a quarter, you might play a half, and then the next guy's up. We got to kind of work through some of that. So we had a little discussion about how we wanted to sort of plan that thing out, because I think it's important to go through kind of what we just did, but I also think it's important that guys have a little bit of time to go talk to your teammates, to go, do whatever you need to do at the quarterback position. A lot of times that's touching base with a receiver, that's touching base with a tight end. That could be an O-line related question or comment he has. Like I said, I kind of get my time with him, and then I like to let those guys have their freedom. And shoot, when I would kind of turn back around or look up for maybe my call sheet, sometimes as coaches were sort of looking for plays, for the next drive. Anthony seemed to be in some sort of communication with somebody on that sideline most of the time. So it was a good start from a just operational, organizational standpoint. Thought he had kind of a good plan in place, and we'll continue to sort of look at that and try to refine that, because it's a part of the game that you don't really think about a lot as a rookie quarterback coming in, and he's done a nice job starting that off.
That's Jim Bob Cooter talking about his Indianapolis Colts offense, and they've just got to get better. They got to figure it out. You could hear in his voice, what, Deion Jackson, he didn't want to completely throw him under a bus, but he knows that with Deion Jackson as the primary running back for this team, they got no chance. It doesn't matter how they block stuff up. It doesn't matter what they do. Deion Jackson absolutely cripples the ability of this Colts offense to move the football. 13 carries, 14 yards. That says it all.